Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Tech Tinktron's channel where we're going to tinker and learn. Today we're going to do MS VBA Excellence folder making VBA macro. This is lesson number 5. This was an interesting lesson where I had to create something from scratch that I needed. So that's what I did. So let's get it started. All right, so be sure to subscribe to the channel. Also, be sure to share the video with a friend because sharing is caring. And be sure to like the video on the way in. Okay. And also, if you're interested, we have a grocery dynamite basic access database system that allows you to look at the prices that you're spending on the groceries that you're buying, compare them, that the best, the brands that you like. Also, you can set your priorities and run a report based upon your grocery shopping needs. For instance, if I would set a high priority for groceries, then I would kick out a report to my Google Drive and take it to the grocery market with me, and I would get what I need off based off that report. You could get one of these grocery dynamite databases from grocerydynamite.com. You can email me info@grocerydynamite.com. It also requires Microsoft Office 2016 Professional Plus or later to run. And without further ado, we'll get started with the lesson. All right. So basically, for the longest time in my music collection system, I needed a folder creation macro. In my system, each album has 4 folders being art, data, MP3, and wave. This is to keep the files neat and separated for those that have the OCD. And that's what it kind of looks like down here. Um, so the problem was at the end of the day, there are many folders that I would have to create for these 4 folders for. If I did this 10 for 10 of my folders, this would amount to 40 folders being created by hand. Right click, show more options, new folder. This was done up until now. This was way too many steps. It was a problem. So I had to come up with a solution. And I looked around on the internet myself because, to be honest, I don't know all the code, but I know where to look to get the code, if you will. So I looked up for the code, and what I found was I needed 2 things to happen. I needed first to allow for the selection of the place to create the list of folders that I had to create. Then I had to use the macro to create the list of folders in the selected location from the directory for the directory I selected. And that's exactly what I had to do. So I took what I found here off the internet and modified it to what I need. And looking at the code, a couple of things come to light. First of all, the first part of the code requires the application file dialog property in Excel. The syntax is this. The expression is the file expression, file dialog type. Expression, a variable that represents an application object. Pretty cool. And here are a few other things that I had to come across. Now, with the application file dialog property in Excel, the parameters are such that you have the name, the file dialog type, the required optional, the data type, MSO file MSO file dialog type, which is the type of dialog. So looking at this, the MSO file dialog type can be one of these constants. It could be a file dialog file picker, which allows user to select a file. It could be an MSO file dialog folder picker, which allows user to select the folder. It could be MSO file dialog open, which allows user to open a file. It could be MSO file dialog save as, which allows user to save a file. Pretty neat stuff here. Pretty neat stuff here. Make sure you click the like button, click subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and let's keep it moving. All right. Then the other thing we have to look at too is the file system object. And the syntax for this is a scripting file system object, all one word there. It provides access to the computer's file system. So the thing with Excel is if you could do it yourself, you could get Excel to do it for you, but a lot faster and a lot many more times. Now, another thing that comes to mind is the do loop statement. It repeats a block of statements while a condition is true or until a condition becomes true. The syntax would be do while until condition, statements exit do, statements do loop. Or you could use this syntax do statements exit do, statements loop while until condition. I usually go for the former, not the latter, because it seems more simpler, but it depends on your code and what you need it to do. Now, the do loop statement syntax has these parts in the following slide coming up. It has the condition, which is optional numeric expression or string expression that is true or false. If condition is null, condition is treated as false. Then the statements, one or more statements that are repeated while or until a condition is true. Okay. And so these are the things these are the disciplines that come out. Another discipline that comes out with this code that I'm going to use is the with statement. Executes a series of statements on a single object or a user-defined type. Syntax: with object, statement, and with. Statement is the code that you execute within that with statement. So the parts of it are the object, required name of the object, and or a user-defined type. Statements. Optional, one or more of the statements is to be executed on the object. All right, let's move forward. Okay. So it with all these disciplines that we learned, we had to come up with these code. The code we came up with is part one. We wanted to select the target folder to create the subfolders in. So I copied a piece of the code that I wrote here and I put in first we declared the file picker as a file dialog, then we declared the my folder as a string. Then we had to set the folder picker application dialog as an application file dialog, MSO file dialog folder picker. With folder picker, we had to set a title for the message box to allow the multi-select, which would be false. It made no sense to have it multi-select true in this case. And then we had to go if show one. This checks to see if the user clicked cancel button. And then it goes my folder equals selected items, blah. So it will read back my folder into that variable, that second variable which we declared. Continuing on, we would have to do part two, okay, of the code. And the part two of the code is where we basically had to loop and create the requested folders per the spreadsheet. So I set it up to whereas the range would be the sheet that I selected, sheet one, range 2 to 200, which is 199 different folders that you could create. You could expand it or you could contract it as you need it. And furthermore, you go into the code, it looks at the range and it looks at the max and the minimums of the range. And it calculates this and then it executes a do while loop with the with statement executing the creation of the folders. And I copied from the internet two pieces of code that kind of did the similar thing, so I had to comment out that one piece of code. So it looks like it's time for the demonstration. So I'll get that ready. And that's what we'll do. All right. So we're here for the demonstration purposes, what will happen is I have this code. I have the code all written out for us. It's all laid out here for us as shown in the slides previously. All right, what will happen is I have it tied to this button. So, when you click assign macro, we did that in the previous shows on this channel. When I go to make these, I'm going to click the make. It's going to ask me to select a target folder. So I created a test folder. And once I click OK, the test folder is right here. You're going to see them folders that I need get generated verbatim. Now, in case you blinked and you missed it, we're going to delete these folders and we're going to try again. I click make. I select the folder. I click OK. It's made. Complete. Save our work as always as an Excel macro enabled piece. And that's how it works, ladies and gentlemen. That's exactly how it works. So basically, that's how the code we came up does for us and what it does for us. So thanks for watching. And if you are interested, we have a grocery dynamite access database system that allows you to get the best prices on groceries by which you put in the database. So if you paid $5.99 for a box of pancakes at one store and you paid $2.99 at another store, you could track that if you want to. Also, too, you could track the quality of the groceries by rating them. Also, you could set the priorities. I run it based off priorities. If there's something I need, I set it to high, and then I run a report. It kicks it up to my Google Drive, and I take that report to the supermarket, and I get exactly what I need. That's what this database does for me, and this database can do the same for you. Moving forward, if you would like to get a copy of the Grocery Dynamite Access Database System, first of all, it's going to require Microsoft Office 2016 Professional Plus or later, and if you have later, it'll update. But you could get this Grocery Dynamite database from grocerydynamite.com, or you could get it information about it at info@grocerydynamite.com. So that's really it in a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen, for this lesson. Thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, share the video with a friend, sharing is caring, and like the video on your way out. Thank you and have a great day.